Hello, good morning. Welcome to day 3 of 5 of our introduction to the fundamentals of hospitality distribution and revenue management. I'm sure it's been wonderful 2 days of activities, and you can see the beauty of this class. You can study at your own pace. For those who have been asking, yes, there'll be a live session, but that will be during the wrap-up when we're going to have a live one-on-one discussion. So for the remaining 3 days of this class, you have all the materials. We don't want to take you off your work. At your own time, you come online and you can connect with the training materials, with everything that is being provided for us and for every member of the class. So this session, we'll be looking at hotel distribution. Before now, we've looked at the evolution of distribution, the growth of hotels. We've looked at, I'm sure to most of us, were surprised to see that it's Air France that actually set up Marriott before it had to stand on its own. And the combination effort of Swissair and Nestle in 1980 that came up with Swiss Hotels. So you can see the evolution of the chain hotels. You can see the role of the airlines. And we've also talked about the restaurant operations. So now we'll be looking at hotel distribution. How does it work? So we'll be looking, we have a quite numbers, time for this discussion. I hope you take your time to review it properly. So what is hotel distribution? Just like we said earlier in the write-up for this module, we said hotel distribution can be said the ways and manners at which hotel is making its products available and accessible to the customers. So that is hotel distribution. So as we said earlier, so it means when you sell, the customer can talk to you directly on phone, make reservation. That's the distribution. They go into your website to make booking, reservations. That is also hotel distribution. They go on booking.com on GDS to make these reservations and booking. That is also reservation. And when they also talk to travel agents, it's also reservation, and that is what we'll be looking in detail. Each one of them want to see what they offer, each of those distribution channels in details. Now we'll be hearing new things coming up in which we call disruptions. So you'll be hearing some terminologies, and one of them in this class will be disruptions, disruptors, and different from destroyers. When you destroy, it's negative. Disruption is when you challenge what is being done and you are offering something better. We refer you to as disruptors. So you'll be seeing so many disruptors we'll be looking at, and also what have they done that has resulted in disruptions in the hospitality distribution space. So just for a startup, you realize that as of 2017, over about 817 billion was expected to be traded by 2020. But as at 2025, it has exceeded 1 trillion naira in trading online. So you can see the huge potentials in this, where hotels goes in, they make the product readily available for the customers. So in moving on, we need to understand our landscape. Landscape shows how big is this market. So we want to look at what it's actually, how do we even operate? How big is it? So we'll be looking at the landscape in the next slide for us to understand how these distribution channels are. So I've been able to come up with this, and then I hope you're able to see my console moving. So you can see the website. The website represents the hotel. So that means wherever your hotel is globally, that is your website. So your website is linked to your hotel. Now, your website has what we call a booking engine. So when your website does not have a booking engine, it will be difficult for anybody to make the booking. Now, this is your inventory. This is where you put the number of rooms or your facilities on the website. So every website uses a book engine. Now, the book engine allows you to link in the payment gateway. So you can allow, so when the customers do the booking on your website, they are communicating with your book engine. And from the book engine, when they want to make payment, it has interface with the payment gateways. That's where you see them pay with their PayPal, their Visa, their Verve, and the rest of them. So you can see how these three works. So all these three are the hotel. The website is the brand.com. Now, what now happens? Now, to the right, you see that is where you now have on your website. Most of us, we have search engine optimization, SEO. This enables customers, when they search based on the keywords you've attached to your website, they'll be able to get your details and link to you. Whenever they do any search, you come up within the first page or the first 2-3 pages. That means Intel has a good search engine optimization. Also, we have something we call pay-per-click adverts. This is where you place in adverts and your website is linked to those adverts. And when people click, it comes to your website. And also the social media is also part of our landscape. So you can see to your right, the Facebook, your Twitter, your LinkedIn. Also, you can use them to also market, to also make your facility accessible, easily accessible to your customers. Now we move on to the left. Now you can see your website cannot communicate with the OTA without a channel manager. And if you remember the class we did on introduction to distribution 1.1, we used the example of 5 teachers trying to interact with 4 students. We use an analogy that says when they try to interact directly, each lecturer will have 4 contacts with each of those students. Times 5, they'll be having 20 contacts. But when they have an intermediary, like a bookshop, all the lecturers, the 5 of them will discuss with the bookshop, will keep their books there, and the students will come to the bookshop. That reduces the interaction from 20 to 9. Same thing, it will be a bit difficult for you to now start changing all your stuff on all the OTAs. Over thousands, over 100,000 of online travel agents, it will be difficult. So every hotel needs a channel manager. And what the channel manager does is that is where the communication between the hotel and all the landscape, all the distribution landscape happens. So now let's see. You can see the channel manager is linked to the hotel website and also is linked to the GDS, Global Distribution System. You can see we have on our GDS the Cyber, the Amadeus, the WorldSpan, and they are there. So those are the GDS, they buy in bulk. And once they make their booking, it comes to the channel manager and also straight to your website. So when you need to change your prices or you want to change your inventory, you don't need to start going to each of the websites to change. Once you change it on the channel manager, it changes across all the platforms. Now, what happens? Now you have also your property management and your revenue management system. So this property management, the software you use in running your hotel, that's what are the softwares that your Opera, your Easy, and the likes of them. So what happens once a customer books, when customer books on any of the GDS and it comes into the channel manager sends it to your PMS. That's why the receptionist can see the booking. Now, if anybody comes to your website and does the bookings, it comes to your channel manager, the channel manager drops it at the hotel. You can see the property manager, you can see the lady there, that's your front office. You can see the work of the channel manager. It's like the person helping the hotel to coordinate. Now, let's go up the channel manager. You see the online travel agencies. So who are they? That's why you see the Expedia, the Chim, the Booking.com, the Guabido, the Agoda, all of them are there, mytrip.com. All of them are here. They are the online travel agents. And beside it, you see another disruptors. That's what we call the meta search. You'll be getting to know all this. So all these are disruptors. You can remember in the history, the hotel chain started, they are taking booking central booking agents. Then suddenly the GDS started, he incorporated them. Suddenly the OTA started. You can see so many things that we now have what we call the meta search. And that's where you find the likes of Trivago, Jovago. Google is now in meta search. We're going to be talking Google in other modules of this class. And you see how Google has evolved from being a search engine, from being a website into a search engine, and now to OTAs and meta search. So you can see the landscape, how big it is, and you can see so interesting. This is the hotel and what the channel manager is doing to ensure everything is managed appropriately. So we're going to be looking at all this. But before we go into looking at them, these are the major distribution channels that the hotel uses. You see, you have the meta search, where we say, for example, your hotel, the Google Hotel Ads. You have the GDS, Global Distribution System. Example is Cyber. You have the WordSpan, you have the Galileo, the online travel agents, you have the Booking.com. Then we have the wholesalers and Hello World Travel that buys in bulk and we distribute online. These are there. So you can see it's evolving, and that's what we'll be looking at. So who is an online travel agent? An online travel agent is just like an agent that comes to you in your hotel that brings business and collects commission. But in this case, it's based online. He makes himself readily available for anybody that have access to internet. Unlike the travel agent that walks into you like just one person, it's the people that he knows. This becomes a global thing. And you can see, according to survey that was done by HSM Foundation and STR, he said 52% of travel customers will discover your hotel's website after finding you on OTAs, and 76 on all travel bookings. So you can see the power. They open up your business, and that's what we call the online travel agent. They are the biggest and one of the most important sales channels for property. Sometimes you say, the online OTA, they are third party. You don't have control over them. They collect too much. We are going to be looking at that later on. Imagine, look at one of them. We have the Priceline Group. The Priceline Group are the owner of Booking.com. Look, they reach $1 billion annual in marketing spending as at 2000. Now, can your hotel afford to spend so much? You can see they create a level of marketing platform for smaller independent hotels and even big hotels to key in without having to spend. That one of them is our online travel agent, the OTAs. Then we'll move on to this dates. Now look at these OTAs. This is as at 2017. You need to see how it's evolving. I have to share some slides on it. You can see Booking.com is number 1, followed by Gobido. Expedia was number 3, Agoda number 4, Traveloka number 5 globally. And you see Hotelbed is number 10. That's 2017. Look at it. By 2020, Booking.com is still maintaining number 1. Agoda has jumped. You can see from number 4 to number 2. Look at Traveloka has jumped from number 5 to number 3. Expedia moved from number 3 to number 4. You can see. And you can see new entrants. Like you can see, you have the Star has moved to number 6. Go MMT was not there in 2017 at all. So you can see the disruptor. New people are coming into the market. Look at Ticket.com, number 8. As at 2017, it's not even among the top 10. You can see Hotelbed, it's maintaining its number 10 position. But look at it. Look at things, some you cannot find. For example, Trip.com, it's not here at all. But look at it, 2022, Trip.com is already number 9. Airbnb was nowhere to be found in 2017. Now look at it, Airbnb is already number 9. So disruptions keep coming into the market, and the market is growing big. So if you are not here, then you ask yourself, where actually are you in the marketplace in getting your products directly? So after the OTAs, we look at the meta search. Now, what is a meta search? A meta search, for example, you have your TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor belongs to so many disruptors, but today I'm going to be treating TripAdvisor as a meta search. Trivago, Kayak, and then Google Hotel Finder. What makes them a meta search and not OTAs? A meta search is a site that when you ask, it go into other sites to draw information and put all the information in one point. Now, remember, if you want to do booking.com, you click in your hotel name or location. Booking.com will give you all the hotels with their prices. When you go to meta search and you put the name of your hotel, it's going to tell you the prices your hotel is being offered to the market on all different sites, what Booking.com is charging, what Expedia is charging, what Trip.com is charging, what Wakana is charging, even what your website is charging, you will put it there. So it enables the customer to say, okay, where do I have the best price? And the customer can really go to. So you can now see, most of us, we have our website, the price is there, it's more expensive than what to give to the OTA. You see, customers will not come to our website, they will rather go. We're going to discuss this, but we need to understand there is what we call a meta search, and they are there, customers are using them to access our facilities. After the meta search, let's look at GDS, Global Distribution System, and the work. This is used by travel agents. You know, just like the way they book airlines, they use the GDS for the airlines. Now, the travel agent, you need to be approved before you can use the GDS. Then hotels are also there, and they can also book us the way they are booking airlines. So if you realize you are trying to book a hotel and you go airline, and you're on the website of the airline, you book, you ask you, do you need hotel? Those are activities of the GDS they buy. So we have a lot of them. And what the GDS does, it consolidates services under a channel and make it easier for travel agents to be able to make those bookings. So some of the GDS, we have Amadeus, Gatilio, Cyber, WhatsApp. And what happens is when anybody makes booking on those GDS, it comes into the channel manager and straight into the hotel, your PMS. So what the GDS does is they help to maintain a good rate that is attractive to the agent, to the travel agents, and ensure rooms are booked. So you can now see it there. We're going to be talking about RFP and the rest in other modules. It's not meant for this module. Then we have the website. This is the most cost-effective. We often refer to as brand.com. And that is where you do your transaction. That is where you do what you sell your hotel. It's your own website. Some of you, the way the OTAs project you, the OTAs have more pictures of your hotel than what you put on your website. So it's key. It is your website. You are not paying for bookings.com on it. Make it look attractive. Make it look functional, because whatever booking that comes via your website, you are paying zero commission to everybody. So it is seen as the most effective. And like in most cases, we are told, some of the research done says at least 45% of booking. It said at least a sizable number. If you look at the data that were shared at the introduction, 20% says they do booking directly to the hotel, which is more or less at par with what the OTAs are doing. But are you part of those 20%? Is your own hotel website that functional? How do you even have a website at all? I think that is for another day. So the next one is the wholesale and tour operators. So who are the wholesalers? These are third-party distribution company that buys hotel nights in bulk and sell them to OTAs and travel agents. They guarantee the booking, they buy it, and they get it discounted. They find people to buy from them. So those are who we call the wholesale and tour operators. So you can see the channels. These are people that make life easier for us. Also, we have what we call the voice of property direct. Although telephone is dying when it comes to booking reservation, we still have people who still want to talk directly to the hotel. They make phone call directly to the hotel. It has been the oldest form of reservation. The traditional method is still useful today. Remember, presently, we have most people, over 62% say they deal more with their mobile phone than their system. So there is tendency when your telephone number is available online, people are likely to call you directly for those bookings. So you can see the online environment, how important it is. You can see the landscape we have shown. I'm sure you can now wonder, oh, so that means this is also part of my distribution channel. This is part. So it's not only Wakana, hotels.ng is there, hotels.com is there, trip.com is there. So it is very important. This is the online has created so many opportunities for us to be able to get our services to the customer to make it a lot more easier. And that's why the knowledge of hospitality distributions and revenue management, a knowledge that you need to have acquired since yesterday. So you can see, gone are the days where travel bookings and reservation were only possible by visiting travel agents. Now we order by phone, we order via email, even on WhatsApp, we order. Now we don't even have to talk to anybody. There is chatbot that does all the booking. So you're going to see more. So these are things that it's happening in our marketplace. So the online is a game changer. Without the online, we won't be able to do this. We won't be able to see e-commerce. We won't be able to have this online travel agent. Imagine you putting your hotel only on booking.com and in less than 48 hours, your hotel will be on nothing less than at least 40,000 sites globally. See the power of online. And also, we still have other digital tools which we'll be talking about. So the online make it easier, but as it's making it easier for us to sell, remember, it's also making it easier for the customer to have information to be able to compare us with others, to also be able to compare our services and prices with others. So you need to be sure whatever you put online are there. Remember, the online is a shared space and it's a common place in travel accommodation. And you can see Airbnb also enter and it's here to stay as well. You can see so many things Airbnb, the model they have brought in. We're going to be discussing that in some of our sessions. And also we have the social media that has also crept into it. And then we can, at least in the US, about 22% of all bookings comes through the social media. So, and then we can see how online has really changed everything about hospitality distribution. So we also need to look at mobile. You will be surprised that mobile is one of the biggest disruptors in the online environment in recent times, according to Google, and in which it says 1 in 2 travelers' journey begin on the mobile. So what does it tell us? Mobile is one of the biggest disruptors in the online environment, and it's also because it is there. Everybody, virtually every home has a mobile phone, and people tend to, it's the first thing you will need anything you ask your mobile. Things we do on the laptop, on the system, we cannot do it entirely on our mobile, including booking. And so you can see it's very easier. And that is also another disruption. So all this tells us is whatever you do, it has to be mobile friendly. If not, you'll be online and the customers will not be able to access you. Look at all the OTAs. They have online app. They have mobile app. What app do you have at the moment? You need to ask yourself that question. So the key takeaway is that if you want a distribution strategy that works, online should be you should be leading from the front and not from the back. Leading from the front means ensure you have your own mobile app, you have your functional website. Don't rely only on the OTAs alone. Also, there is something we call review, and that is one thing about TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor came into the market as a review site. Now it has evolved to now be a meta search, as we've seen earlier. We'll be discussing that, and review is also very important because it gives clients, customers the confidence that the decision, the choices they are making are the best. Remember, most of these customers might not have experienced your services and they're just coming into your hotel. And that's why there are research that has done that customers, before booking you online, they want to see what other customers have said about you. They go on review site to see what has happened. And most of all these online distribution system, the OTAs, all the channel managers have their own review, which people can see, look into before going to book your hotel or that of your competitors. So let's try and summarize this class. We've talked about from the first class when we talk about the module 1.2, when we talk about distribution channels. Remember, we said there are two types of distribution channels, the direct and the indirect. So here you can see on the direct, your hotel website, mobile app, social media messaging app. Those are direct, just a reminder. The indirect are the Agoda, MetaSearch, your wholesalers, your GDS, your OTAs, because they are middle person between the hotel and the customers. Then we also have off-booking channels. That's where you have your travel agent. Now, not the online travel agent. Your travel agent, your corporate booking platforms, your tour operators who walks into your hotel, negotiate, and get a customer. So they also serve as middle. So this can be said it is an indirect booking. Then we have the alternative booking, where you have the vacation rentals, the Airbnb, and the last minute booking. These are, you can see disruptors coming in, and yet the business is still doing fantastic. The online keeps evolving, and while they are evolving, disruptors are coming in and they are creating better ways, new ways in which they can serve the customers and the hotel and the establishment better. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see this is loaded where we talk about the hotel distributions. Please, if you have questions, be kind enough to drop it on the platform, and I'll be happy to answer. I want to say thank you for your time. See you today. And remember, after this video, be ready for your test number 2 that is coming. Thank you and God bless.